Donnie and Dolly, the team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is Thursday. Our guests today, including John Shannon, standing by. Brought to you by Optic Foliar, the only lights-on spray with no damage, no burning to your plant leaves. Plant efficiency, nutrition, and results all combined into a single solution for all stages of growth and safe to use on flowers. Spray it, see it, believe it. That's Optic Foliar. Visit this made in BC company online at opticfoliar.ca. Chef Swagger, by the way, in the Delaney's OK Tire and Langley inbox, agreeing with me on Old Spice Swagger. Try it. You'll love it.
Is that shampoo?
It's a 2-in-1. It also is a body wash as well.
Thank you.
Bar soap as well.
Pert Plus.
NHL Analyst, co-host of the Bob McCowan podcast, John Shannon, joining us now. I'm sure he's pleased about that. How are you, sir?
For the record, I was going to show you a video where my shower is, but I didn't think anybody would see it.
John, we're okay with that. We'll save it for next week.
It's amazing. It's amazing that you think that an arena that holds 18,000 people could actually have an extra shower.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
You're all invited. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, Colorado beats the Canucks 4-2. That's 5 straight losses. John, the Canucks only have 3 regulation wins so far this season. Any chance, because I don't think anybody here did, any chance you or anybody you know saw this coming?
No, I don't think we did. I mean, I think that once Hughes and Pettersson got signed, I think that everybody said that life is good in Vancouver, and it may take time for the team to gel, but the additions of Ekman-Larsson and Garland were a step in the right direction. So things were looking positive. Hey, listen, to me, the bottom line is when you go into any game and allow 3 power play goals, you're not going to win those games. And quite frankly, I think that this, even though the road trip was a debacle, if your special teams in this league aren't working, you're in big trouble.
Do you expect a major move from the Canucks? What are you hearing?
I expect some patience. I know that's not what lots of fans want to hear, but I truly believe that nothing was imminent when they came home, and I don't think that there's going to be a knee-jerk reaction. Quite frankly, I mean, there's an assumption, I think, in the market that it's a really, really volatile situation with the Canucks and with ownership. But this team's only had 2 general managers in 15 years. Mm-hmm. They're cautious. They take their time at making decisions. I do think the addition of Michael Doyle on the business side is a positive when it comes to being thorough in its investigation of what's going on and what has to happen. Because I think he is a trusted voice for the Aquilini family. So from that perspective, I would say that it's you might want to ask the question after this 3-game homestand, but at this point, I don't expect anything to be drastic at this point.
John, you saw in Toronto, okay, they got Marners, they got Matthews. They kind of went through this as well. And now, even though they're not getting over the hump in the playoffs, they're still a good team. Can you see any comparisons between Toronto and Vancouver and what's going on and how they got better or what the Canucks need?
Well, first of all, the Canucks never hit the bottom of the barrel like the Leafs did. They really didn't.
Right.
When Austin Matthews was the first player picked, I still remember sitting with Lou Lamoriello one day, and he turned to me and he said, John, we work really hard to be last. and so from that perspective, the drafting at number 1 is a lot different than even at 5, even at 6. And we all know the Canucks' luck in the lottery the last few years, right? So from that perspective, the Canucks, I know it's hard to believe, but the Canucks have not hit rock bottom like a lot of teams in our country have, like Edmonton and like Toronto.
Yeah. I got some Canuck news right now. Justin Bailey on waivers. Right. So just wanted to pass that along. do you see? You said one word, patience. It doesn't matter if it's minor hockey, John, or junior hockey, or the pros. Patience is something that just isn't out there. Whether it's with management or players or fans or media, how much more patience is Vancouver going to need in your eyes, John?
Well, that is the $1 million question. I mean, the patience from an ownership and a team perspective is when people stop caring.
Yeah.
And people stop buying tickets, and people stop buying, T-shirts and souvenirs and popcorn and beer. That's the measure. That is what the fans' role in all of this is if they're that unhappy, stop going. I'm not advocating that, but that's when ownership might pay a little more attention to what's gone on. For me, overall, I mean, patience is one of those. Listen, this is. What I find hard to believe in many ways is that every fan, I think, was happy that Pettersson signed. Every fan was happy that Hughes was signed. Every fan was happy that Benning was able to rid himself of some of those silly contracts and get Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Garland out of Arizona. Well, I know there are 5 games under 500, but we're not even a quarter of the way through the season yet.
Yeah.
And so Travis Green has not become a bad coach in a month. He hasn't.
No.
So that's where I say that somebody has to have some patience. I know it's difficult. when with what they went through last year with COVID and the 56 game schedule. But patience is something that has to exist, and that's what the team has to measure if the fans can be patient as opposed to apathetic.
John, here's what else is difficult, if I can sneak one more in here, and that's what's going on down south, Anaheim Ducks, okay? 8 wins in a row. They've got 2 or 3 teenagers in their lineup, and that's hard for Vancouver fans who I think would have accepted a rebuild years ago, okay? What's going right with Dallas Eakins and the Anaheim Ducks?
Well, it's not a very popular name to say right now, but Bob Murray is a great evaluator, was a great evaluator of talent. And listen, the Ducks hit some pretty rough roads themselves the last 2 or 3 years. How many times did we talk about Dallas getting fired at one point or another in the last 2 or 3 years?
Right.
Zegras and Troy Terry, they are really, really good young players. You're absolutely right. So there's some positives going on in Anaheim, but if the Canucks had played as poorly as the Ducks had the last 5 years, nobody would still be in management by that point. So it's difficult to compare scenarios that way.
Yeah.
But Bob Murray, David McNabb, who's now retired, over the last 4 or 5 years, did a good job of retooling that organization.
John, next week. Thanks so much for this. Appreciate it.
Cheers, boys.
You bet. John Shannon, NHL analyst, co-host of the Bob McCown podcast.